everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. Today on Bones Collector we're continuing our series where Lori and I are playing our way through our board gaming library. So we're going to play a couple of games, 2 or 3 games each week, and make a video about it and pass it on to you, and I hope you enjoy them. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Bones Collector. And today here at our clubhouse we just got done playing a game called Sabika. Sabika is a game designed by Sherman P. Milan, and he is the designer. I think he had a game that came out last year or the year before called Batoku. Yeah, this is a 2023, isn't it?
22.
Is it 22?
I think so.
Okay, 2022. And first let's talk about the production of this game. A nice sturdy box. Really fantastic artwork on the front of this box. I mean, everything in here is fantastic. It says Sabika in the bottom of the box. I don't know if you can see that or not.
No, that's full stuff.
It's going to say Sabika in there. And so let's talk about the component quality a little bit. First of all, this game board is absolutely fantastic. I mean,
and huge.
Yeah, it's a big board. It's gorgeous. The quality of the components in this game are fantastic. Now you see that Lori spent $3, she said, and got them off Etsy or Board Game Geek?
Board Game Geek.
Board Game Geek, the stickers to put on the Master Builders, the Merchant, and your Poet. And you have 3 different sizes of workers you're going to use in this game. And these are the player boards. If you can see, they're very lovely, and they're have a cutouts here for your storehouses and so forth. And let's see, the workers that you're going to place on the board are wood, and
these are blockers for the.
Oh, we have blockers. We have
for the 1 and 2 player game.
Like we see, you have minor poems, major poems, or something like that.
Yep.
And these are minor buildings, and these are major buildings. So those are things you're going to be doing in this game, and you're going to activate this rondel to make those things happen. And I'm not going to get into every rule in this game because it's complex, okay? This is our second playthrough of it, Lori and I, and it's a lovely game. It's very nice. It's very complex though, and on the board itself, almost everywhere, it has iconography to tell you and help you through the game. I mean, there's so much iconography on this board.
Once you figure out what they all mean, it makes sense.
And it's a necessity to figure out everything on this board. You have to go through and say, what is this? And just dig deeper into Board Game Geek and in the rule book and figure out what all this iconography means in this game. Because it will help you. And it comes with a nice play area. I forgot to mention that. Thank you.
Both sides.
Yeah, and one of them. Yeah. And it does help you when you're learning this game. I will say this, we learned it rather 30 minutes.
Yeah. It wasn't that bad. But the first play we played, we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the way these types of games are.
We didn't make very many mistakes.
You're going to play through a game of this complexity, and it's going to take you one play just to kind of figure out what's going on. I mean, there's so much happening on this board.
You got 3 rondels running.
Yeah, and you start out with your player board, and you're gathering resources like some other games, but you have a very limited storage. You can see you only can put 1 item in each one of those storage boxes until you upgrade. And
this one's been upgraded,
then
so
you have to do it. You have to do it. I mean, there's, what is it, major and minor goods?
Those are goods
and upgrades, upgraded goods.
And they're raw materials, and then they become goods.
And they become goods, okay.
Yes. So like this is a raw material of cloth, and when it's upgraded, it becomes a coat. And
you're going to use those to ship down here in the bottom part of the board. And then you also have a trade card, which is an end game goal. Before you start the game, you need to know what that trade card says, how to score. And then this track up here is the Sultan's Favors or Sultan's Wishes.
Sultan's Wishes.
Wishes. Yeah. And you can see we have 3 of them over here because they will be sitting here like this. And where would the other one go?
Underneath the book.
Oh, underneath the book, that's right. That's the way you'll start the game, and you have to know what those things do and how they score in order to do well in this game. So you need to know what those are, and you need to know what that trade card does. That's how the game is going to be scored. And then you can acquire these during the game, and there's only 4 of them in the game. So you need to read those before the game starts and tell yourself, if I'm doing well in one certain area, I got to make sure I get that card, which I did. And I still lost.
But you got 4 points.
Yeah, we played it twice, and I've lost twice. I got a feeling this game's a little bit out of my league. But it's a fun game.
You did not lose by that much. Yeah, come on.
But It's a real fun game. It's a well-designed game. I didn't know if I would like it. We went into our local game store and they had this game for half off, which was $30. So this is a $60 game.
And we're suckers for sales.
Yeah, we're suckers for sales. And I had been curious about this game first off, and when I found out I could get it for $30, I did it because they happened to have an open copy there at the store. I opened it up and I was mesmerized by the pieces. I mean, this is a beautiful game. I'm not gonna lie.
It is very pretty.
It is gorgeous. Everything about the production is outstanding, and it's pretty to look at. And I will say that has a lot to do with the fun factor of this game. Do you think?
A nice little draw bag. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If this was just cubes and ugly stuff, I wouldn't play it.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It took us an hour and a half the second time.
The artwork in this game is fantastic. Okay, let me give kudos to Ludo Nova. Is that who did this? To Ludo Nova, because they did something that I'm always complaining about. You see that? It has a 2-player side of the board, and they flip this over, and it's 3 to 5 or 3 to
4. I think it's 3 and 4. Just 3 and 4. It
doesn't play 5. So it has 2 sides to the board. So, and it's just as lovely looking as this.
And it has a solo variant.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, solo game. But I just love it when publishers do that, and I hate it when they don't. You know, I don't want to put a bunch of blockers and redo the board, use a third of the board to play the board game. It's so stupid and lazy.
Wish you had these dummy players that just cost you money to go their spaces.
Yeah, these gold guys, and it shows you on the board where they start the game out on this 2-player game, and then at the end of the round they're going to move 1 space clockwise, all of them. And when you play this game, make sure that just one person does that, because you've got several hands moving things. You don't remember where those guys started. So have one person move the outer ring, then the middle ring, and then the inner ring. Just one person, and you won't lose track of that. And then that just adds to the tightness of the board. This is a very tight economy in this game, isn't it? I mean, we almost got up to 80. Was that 80? I mean, we got up to almost 80.
I got 75 and you got 69. So yeah, I mean, 80 is where it stops. So we did pretty good.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I mean, we played a completely different game. Lori built a whole bunch of things, and
I built buildings and
got
poems.
Points at the end of the game for. I happened to get one of the end game goal cards. I was able to do that, and that gave me 6 points. And then.
But you built 5 things.
Yeah, I did pretty good towards the end, didn't I?
I only built. You built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I built 8.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we just had different tracks, and you can do so many different things in this game to affect how you play. And
it's just frustrating because there's only like 2 places on the rondelle you can ship.
Yeah.
And there's 2 places where you could build, and if you're not with close to it, you're not getting there.
You have to plan well in this game. Yes. This game is not for people who don't want to think hard. This is a pretty tight game.
Well, what's the weight?
3.9 something.
389 or 398 or something like that. Is heavy.
I can highly recommend this game for people who want to put that kind of effort into a game. It's 90 minutes. We played it 90 minutes, and it will take you 90 minutes.
At least.
Even when you know the game.
I don't think you can play it any faster.
Because it's such a tight game that your strategy has to be very tight. So you're trying to think of what's the best way to make things happen. Because, as Lori said, there's only 2 places to ship on this board, but there might be shipping on one of the major builds,
and you might. Was
there another place? And
right
maybe
there.
And there's probably a shipping thing, maybe that in the minor poems.
And there's a ship on that red city.
There's a ship on some of these city benefits. Yeah. So there's different ways to get some of those actions, but they're very few and far between. And that's the fun of this game. I mean, it's fun. I enjoyed our plays, didn't you?
Yes, I didn't think I would because there's just too. I mean, I've got like 2.5 pages of notes I made for this game.
But here's the thing. It reminds me of Red Cathedral because you know how you have a tough time stuffing everything in the Red Cathedral's box. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck.
It barely goes in the box.
Whatever you pay for this game, you're going to get your money's worth. It's gorgeous. The box is just a regular sized box, and it's packed. You can hardly get the lid back on. So, yeah, man, I don't know. It's just I thought it was outstanding. Do you have any more thoughts about it?
No, it was better than I expected because when we first played it, I thought this is just too much. I can't do this.
And then you're going to have, I don't know what these cards are called.
They're minor buildings. Those are just advanced. You just start with those.
Yeah, you start with those. But when you get a minor building over here, these cards, then you're going to link these up. And if you make that color, then you're going to get that benefit on that particular card. So that's another thing to think about, because you get these at the start of the game, and then you get one of these basic tiles, and you're going to have 2 of them. You get to pick one at the beginning of the game. It's going to give you your resources. That's your starting resources for the beginning of the game. And then $3, I think you start with something like that. So I mean, it's a well-designed game. When I saw Batoku, which was before this game that this guy designed, it just looked too busy for me, and we kind of decided, nah. And I watched it played, and I thought, I don't know. But then, like I say, we're suckers for bargains. And I took the lid off this box and saw everything I was getting for $30. I was like, man, I told Laura, we're buying this game. I mean, it looks great. How can it be bad and look that good? It's happened before.
It's just a little heavier than we normally would play.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I mean, it's Kanban heavy, I think.
If it wasn't pretty, I would say it would go.
Yeah,
but it's pretty, so it can stick.
It is pretty, and it's, man. I mean, it's frustrating because you just can't. Sometimes you just can't make the things happen you want to make happen, and you're trying to go through your head, and you really want to make sure you didn't miss an opportunity.
Yep.
I mean, you tell yourself, well, there's only 2 places to ship. I've already used my guy, or
they have to stay in their own little loop.
They have to stay. I mean, you have 2 guys on the outside ring. Those are master builders. You have a merchant on the middle ring, and you have a poet in the inner ring, and they just stay in their ring. So if you've already used your poet, and you want to activate, say, your minor poem,
too bad.
Yeah, tough nuts.
And you can only move 2 spaces at a time.
Yeah, and then you got to pay
You have to pay
to move it more than that.
And if there's people in your space when you get there, you have to pay. So it can be expensive.
Man, at the end of the game, because I just came here. I came here last. It cost me. First of all, it cost me like I think I moved 4 spaces.
You were here, so you went 1, 2, 3, 4. You moved 4 spaces, so it cost you $2 to move and $2 because there were people in the space.
It's only $4 to go to that space, but I had to build. So those are the types of things you're going to do. And if there's just an action you need to take so bad, but you've already used, like your merchant, and you want to ship, well, you're going to have to maybe find
another way to do it.
Another way to do it. And sometimes those ways are in there, and other times they're not. So
now you can take your people off the board and rest.
Yes, you can.
Then you can put them back wherever you want. And that helps sometimes.
And that's a strategy.
Yeah.
So if you got a person and maybe you're tight on money, you pull that person off the board, put them back on your player board. You get $3 and a point. But even better, when the next round happens, you get to put that person anywhere on his ring on the rondelle, and that can be a great strategy.
Moving. Yeah.
So you have to think about that too. Hey guys, there's a lot to think about in this game, and I really loved playing it. I like it. We're gonna hang on to this game for a while. I mean, it's wow. Like again, you get a ton of.
I don't know how often I would say let's play it, but it was very fun.
You get a ton of game in here.
It's huge. It takes up a lot of table space.
But I mean, the box is tiny.
Table hog.
This is a. No, I mean this is.
That's a normal size box.
Normal size game box. Which I'm impressed.
Yep. For what they got in there.
Yeah. I mean, and this board, like I say, is just, it's gorgeous to look at. I don't know if I can get rid of this game.
I know.
It's pretty. I'd drag it out and play it. I wouldn't mind, going home and playing it tonight again. But yeah, so that's.
It's not a kiddie-friendly game.
No, it's
There's
not.
Too many little pieces.
Biscuits and gravy beyond this, like white on rice.
Yep.
And they would just be knocking stuff all over the place. So we had to come up here to the clubhouse and play it. But hey, that's Sabika, you guys. Again, I can highly recommend this game. Thumbs up. But you have to want this kind of complexity.
Yep, it's a heavy game. Yeah. Definitely a heavy game.
It's not going to be Stone Age, or anything like that. This game has got a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, but it's beautifully designed, and most of it is intuitive. I mean, as soon as you figure out how it's working, you're like, okay, there's a lot of different things to think about on my turn. But I see how it works. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
and,
it was easy to. It flows once you get going.
So this guy's pretty good. I have not played Batoku, but now it's making me want to go back and play it.
Yeah.
So that's German P. Milan. It's got little notations there over the A's. But wow, what a wonderful game. We had a good time playing it. Hey, you guys, do me a favor. Take a minute, just a second on your TV, your computer, your phone. Give us a thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the looks of this game, or if you have, if you've played it. What do you think about the complexity of this game? We didn't even talk about the pariah track where you have to pay that at the end.
Yeah, that's the punishment part of the game.
That's the punishment track.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you're getting up on that pariah track, because as you get up on this Sultan's Wishes track, you can see on the bottom, it tells you how many pariah you have to pay at the end of the round. So that can be very interesting.
As you can see, I'm on 0, and I had to pay points because I wasn't back if I didn't have enough.
Darn it. I mean, she didn't pay enough, though. She still beat me. Okay, that's it. I love every one of you guys. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet because of games like Sabika. See you the next time on The Bones Collector. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Bones Collector, and today Lori and I just got done playing Andreas Stedding's Stroganov. Stroganov came out in 2021, and the art is by Masage Yannick. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation of his name, but the artwork in this game is beautiful, so I wanted to mention it. And it's a point-to-point movement game with some worker placement and action selection mechanisms in it. And the winning condition is the most points on this track right here. Now, the production of this game is pretty outstanding because this game we were able to get on some big sale at Game Steward. Now, if you're not familiar with Game Steward, they carry and order a lot of Kickstarters. And you can get on their website and acquire some of these Kickstarter games that maybe you didn't back or didn't want to back. And it's a great way to get a Kickstarter game that you've wanted, but you didn't want to take the chance on backing it on Kickstarter. So that people who do that sometimes don't get their money back and they don't get a game. So I just always advise people not to back things on crowdfunding, not just Kickstarter, all crowdfunding. But Game Steward is a place you can go to and get games like this. Now, they had some big sale, and we were able to get this for $39.99 or something, 40 bucks. And it's the Kickstarter edition, so it's absolutely wonderful. It has a nice box, not the thickest, but it's good enough. That's a pretty nice box. And the thing I liked most about the game was it has an insert that comes with it, and you just have to put it together. It has instructions on how to build the insert, and all this stuff that that's in the game has these trays that go in the box and it fits in here and tucks away very nice and neat. And so that helps with the game being easy to set up and easy to take down. And that's pretty cool. And you got some pretty cool pieces in here too. Let's see here. There's the instructions on how to build the insert that comes with the game. Here's the extra pieces that you get because it's Kickstarter. Screen printed wooden pieces, stuff like that. These player boards that you're going to use have a man on one side and a woman on the other. I really like that. I really appreciate it. Now, my gravy, that's enough of that. Me? No. And so that's pretty cool. And there's asymmetric powers on one side. You can play, everybody has the same powers, or you can flip it over and the other side has asymmetric powers. And so that's pretty cool too. Gives the game a little variety, a little variability. And I really like that. And this is a stitched bag that comes with it, Stroganov, and it has a bear on the other side. That's pretty cool because you're going to be drawing fur tiles out of here, different animals that you're going to put on some of these landscape tiles. So that's pretty cool. And everything in here, these Cossacks, that's your worker. You're going to have one of these guys, and you're simply, if you ever played Parks, you're going to move down this track of landscape tiles and do different things. So you want to select where you go, be very selective and very strategic, and plan very well to decide where you want to go to be as efficient as possible when you're trying to do things as you're going down this track. And then it's played over 4 years, and at the end of each year, you'll start back at the beginning of this track. But the board is beautiful, it's thick, it lays flat, hey, thank you. And these landscape tiles that you're going to use in the game are absolutely wonderful, and those are here on the board. You have these wooden outpost things that you're going to put in these different regions. You have screen printed markers for the song track, because part of the adventure is creating a song, and you're going to sing that song at the end of each year, so that's pretty cool. And the board itself is very attractive, and if you can take the time to look at things, I hope you do that in your board games. I mean, there's some of these board games, there's a lot of work that goes into the art and production of the game, and like this here has a couple of wolves laying on some rocks. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous artwork on these tiles. It makes the game more enjoyable, more immersive. I really like that. And that's why we always take the time to kind of admire the game once we set it up. and take a look at some of the detail in the artwork and the detail that's on the board, because this board has a lot of iconography on it, and all of it is helpful to you. So you need to take the time to learn what every one of these iconography tracks are telling you, because it will help you. I mean, it has your actions you can take, auxiliary actions over here. This is the season track and the year track, and end of game scoring. Again, these are your basic actions over here. These are your advanced actions that you can take, and this is the end of round. So there's just a lot of good stuff on there to help you play the game and make it a more pleasant and easy learning experience. And it took us a time. We went through and played it one time, and then realized, you know, we played it one time, then we went back and reread the rule book and realized some of the things we were doing incorrectly, and then played it again, and we were able to have a really, really good time. And we did it, everything exactly by the rule book this time, except for changing out the cards. What was it, the A and B cards?
A and B, you're supposed to take all the A cards out after season 2, and we missed that.
After the second year, you take out the A and B tiles, these
A tiles.
These wish cards and
the yurts.
The yurts, yeah.
And the songs.
Okay, yeah. Oh, these things up here, okay, yeah.
The songs,
yeah. Yeah, the wish tiles, the yurts, and the songs. So these three things right here. At the end of the second year, you would take the A's out and fill them with B's. And they're a little more advanced. They give you a little boost. So we didn't do that. The song track is part of the game, and it's something you're going to be doing as far as trying to move up this track, because you get a certain benefit. The one highest on the track is going to be able to pick which song tile they want to activate, and if you're behind them, you get second choice. And there's a way to get that more than once. So yeah, something to think about also. The production of this game is absolutely fabulous. It's by Game Brewer. I guess I should mention that. It has a solo variant, so it's a 1 to 4 player game. 90 minutes. What do you think? Probably. Maybe
an hour the second time when we knew what we were doing.
Yeah. I think
it probably took 90 the first time because we were in the book a lot.
Yeah.
I think you could do
maybe
it in
75 minutes. Yeah, hour 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Once you've realized how to work this this track, because you can move backwards and forwards on this track. That's kind of interesting.
I didn't know that the first game
either. So it tells you right on there.
It tells right there.
Yeah, that you can move backwards and forwards on this track. So if you find yourself in a certain position on these landscape tiles, and you realize there's a fur tile that you want to go back and get, you can move back if you're able to take that action, that basic action. But the way this game works is all players start on this tile right down here, and these are full of landscape tiles. We've got them, ones we've earned, but let's say for the sake of argument, or just for illustration purposes, I'm going to lay this track full of tiles right here. And that's what it'll look like, except it'll be covered with fur tiles. That's these small tiles that you see on some of these landscape tiles. And it tells you how many to put on there. It has outlines on it so you know where to put them. And they're different types of furs or animals. And this is Siberia. So you're moving through Siberia, deeper into the wildlands of Siberia. And there's all these animals that you're going to slay to support yourself and keep yourself alive. So these animals that you're getting are going to be your resources, and that's what you're going to be using to acquire certain things in this game to try to score as many points you possibly can. But you're going to start down here, and the first thing you have to do is move. So you're allowed to move up to 2 spaces without paying. If you want to move further than that, you can use these wooden horses that are gorgeous. The white ones are 1 horse, the purple ones are 3 horses. So you're able to use those to move further than your basic action, which is 1 to 2 movement. So you can move 1 to 2 for your movement, and then beyond that you can take a free basic action and then a couple of more actions if you have the furs. One of them's free, and then the second one are going to be furs that you're going to have to pay to take an advanced action. So you got basic actions, main actions, advanced actions, and things like that that you're going to do in this game. And so you're moving down this track, point-to-point movement, and you're trying to maybe do a few different things. You can actually acquire these landscape tiles. There's a whole stack of them here under Gravy. Over here, he's sleeping on them. But there's a whole stack of them. And once you pay whatever fur type is in that zone to take that tile, you can put that in your tableau. And if you have 3 different ones at the end of the game, you score points. If you have 4 different ones, I think it's like 3 points and 6 points.
On the back.
Oh yeah, 3 points and 6 points. 3 different landscape tiles is 3 points. 4 different landscape tiles is 6 points. So that's a set collection mechanism that you're trying to do. And then you're also trying to get these Tsar wishes, and they give you a little bit of a benefit that might help you in the game. This one gives you an extra advanced action, things like that. This one gives you extra movement. I had a couple that in winter, which is the end of each year, the winter is scored differently, but in winter I would get move up 2 points on the song track and get a coin. So those things help me out in the game. And it was a very close game, and I won by 2 points. Yeah. But who knows? Yeah. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and it comes with metal coins. And again, $40 for this Kickstarter version of the game. It's really nice. But I thought it was a pretty easy rule book to understand. Yeah. I mean, I read through it, and the examples were good, and it's pretty easy to work out. Again, if you've played Parks, it's just like Parks on steroids, maybe a little bit. So you are moving down this track and just doing different things as you move. And again, you can move back and forth. You're going to put out outposts, and the more outposts you put out in these different regions, the more points you're going to score there also. And it's all printed on the board. Right here, as it tells you, for 1 outpost, you get 1 point. And it goes all the way up to 5, and for 5 outposts, if you manage to do that, you can get 15 points. And that would be, you'd have to focus on that.
Well, and your opponent would have to let you in a 2-player game, because
the
most you could do is 4, because they could stop you.
Yeah, it's hard to get to just do that. I mean, you're paying for these actions. It's a tight economy.
And you have to get them to place them. That's an action.
It's a real tight economy in this game.
Yeah.
So doing a lot of anything is just not going to happen. You're going to try and do as much as you can of 2 or 3 different things in order to score well in this game. And I don't know, I don't know if you could score all the way up to the end of that track. You probably could. I mean,
we didn't put the B cards in, and they have bigger rewards.
Oh yeah, because it had some of these on the song track that
had like 9 and 12.
Yeah, points.
Not song movement. Things. So it's possible we could have.
Could have gotten. It only goes up. The scoring track only goes up to 50, and they didn't give us any tokens to.
Yeah.
So
to go past that. So yeah.
Yeah, to go past that, but I'm sure
we might have made it closer.
You just wrap around.
You could probably learn to get to 50 if we played it a couple more times.
And then on your player board also has a expiration track, I think it's called, that you're going to go down. And when you see this icon, it looks like a skull with deer horns on it. That is going to allow you the opportunity to move your token, your screen printed wooden token, down this track and get some of these benefits that you see on this board right here. The only problem is you actually have to have that fur in order to move that down. Even though you triggered that action, you still have to have that fur in order to move your marker down this board. And you can get up to 10 points if you can get down here to the bottom. Wow, that would have been awesome. But, I mean, you'd have, I don't know.
You have to concentrate on that.
Yeah, because you are going down these tiles or moving around these tiles hunting, but it costs you actions to do that. It's an action point system. So every time you take one of these fur tiles off these terrain tiles, that's an action. So it's real tight. You're getting those things, but you're needing them in order to activate these Tsar's Wishes cards, and you're trying to use them also to buy extra actions on your turn, and then you have to use them to get these terrain tiles also. So, I mean, I had 0 fur tiles left over at the end of the game. The ones that I have over here now are because I had horses left over.
That's where mine came from as well. I had no fur tiles left.
I mean, that's the goal. I mean, in this game, that's what you want to do. You want to have 0 fur tiles left over. But I liked the game. It was pretty nice. What did you think of it?
I liked it. It's a little bit fiddly with all the pieces you're putting out when you're setting it up.
Yeah.
And when you, at the end of the round, you slide stuff down and refill. So you're handling a lot of things.
I mean, these things help, though. I mean, I can't imagine.
The trays help, yes.
If you didn't have these trays, I can't imagine. And the organizer in the box, because it separates the cards and everything and all the pieces.
Yeah.
So that does help. But there are some small pieces in this game, the fur tiles and.
You have to populate the tiles with the fur tiles each time. And,
yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't horrible.
No.
It just is a little fiddly. Yeah. But I liked the game a lot more the second time when we actually knew what we were doing.
And Andreas Steding, I think he did Friends. But this is a fabulous game. It's a great game design. And we just got done playing Sabika yesterday, and that was a great Euro game. I mean, if you're a Euro game lover, you're going to like this game. This game is absolutely fantastic. And we played it at 2. I imagine it will be just as good at higher player counts. The nice thing about playing it as 2 is Lori sits here and I sit here, and it's a long board. Yeah. So we were able to focus on this board, where if it was in the middle of the table with people, you know, in a 4-player game or 3-player game where I couldn't have it down here, I don't know how
and the red and
convenient
blue,
that would be.
The red and blue X's are blockers for the 2-player game.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
that helps a little bit, tightens it up a little.
These extra outposts, because we only play 2 players, we always use yellow and green, and then the other colors on here, the red and blue, are blockers for the 2-player game. That's the only ones you had to do, wasn't it? That's the only change you have to make for 2 players, to block some of the outposts. These outpost spaces have costs. Not to mention whatever furs you have to pay to do this. It also has costs as far as horses to place your outpost on there. And once you place your outpost on this track, it gives you access to this region without your Cossack being in there. So that when you initiate an action, you can say, well, I'm going to go down here and do one. It's just the advanced actions now. I'm going to go down here and do this advanced action in this region because I have a yellow outpost here. In these banners, when you have them in the winter, you get extra horses for them. And horses are movement. And horses are what you need to pay to put out outposts. So you need horses, and it's nice to have an abundance of them if you've got them.
And they score.
Oh yeah, and they score at the end of the game. So yeah, you got to be pretty efficient with that too. You want to use them if you have to, but if you don't have to, it's nice to have them at the end of the game to get a few extra points, because this is going to be a close game. I mean, everybody's going to be thinking hard and trying to take actions that's going to give them the best efficiency in scoring, so that the scores are just quite naturally going to be very close. And I mean, it could be a point. In one particular instance on this song track, there's only 2 tiles out because there's only 2 players, and one of them was 2 points, but you had to move back 4 spaces. The other one was 1 point, and you only had to move back 2 spaces. Well, the 2 points sounds great, but I want to move back 4 spaces, so I chose the lesser in that particular instance and gave Lori that opportunity to get 2 more points, and I won by 2 points.
That was back up.
Yeah, it was very close, but she had to back up 4, and I was in the lead on that track. So things work out like that, and you got to think about that as you're playing the game. It's a fun game, and I wanted to tell you guys about it. Wow, I mean, it's a fabulous game. I enjoy it. You know, you got these tiger tiles that are 2 points at the end of the game if you happen to capture them. I mean, there's no
and they're wild for anything else.
Yeah, there's no 17-point swings in this game. You know, you're going to get 30 points. No, there's nothing like that. The track only goes up to 50. That's your first clue when you're playing a board game. You're going to work for 10, 15 points. But this goes up to 50, and as soon as I saw that, I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be very difficult to score 50 points, and it is. But it's a lot of fun. Again, everything, all the information that you need, all the basic information you need is printed on the board, and I like that when the publishers do that, and designer, I don't know if it's a designer or the publisher that does that, but whoever developed this game was able to make a really nice player aid just on the board. So that's pretty cool. You know, that's pretty much the game. Again, you move down this track with your Cossacks, and once you take all of your actions, you lay him down so that everybody knows your turn is over with. The one who is the furthest right, deeper into Siberia, is going to be first after everybody takes a turn. So that's something to think about too, because sometimes you want to go first. And so that when you're moving, you're like, oh man, I want to move 2 spaces, but they're 2 spaces ahead of me, so maybe it'd be better for me to move 3 or 4, pay the extra horses that way, because I want to go first in the next round or whatever. So yeah, that's stuff to think about. And then the bottom of these terrain tiles, when you pay for them and get them and satisfy their conditions, you get this benefit at the bottom of it also, and there's points and coins and stuff to have. Sometimes you have to have specific fur tiles, and that's some of the challenge also, because every one of these regions has one of these specific furs, and in order to activate that region, you have to, like this is an elk, you're going to have an elk tile. Maybe you don't have one, so you have a market of tiles over here, and you can buy from that market, and it doesn't count against your actions whatsoever. You can do that anytime you want to. It costs you fur tiles and horses, or just horses, so you can get fur tiles that you need through that market without spending any actions. So that's kind of nice. Your advanced actions down here are going to be these village tiles, these yurt tiles that are on the board, and these Tsar's wishes. Those are going to be your advanced actions that you're going to take. So yeah, hey, that's Stroganov. We had a great time playing it. I really, really like this game, and we're getting really good with biscuits and gravy, because we have some boxes that we lay out on our game table now, and they're they are those types of cats that love to curl up in a box and go to sleep. So we put them out on the table before we played the game, and they came up and slept in the boxes while we played our game and left our stuff alone because they're crazy. They're 7 months old now, and they're still a little nuts. Yeah, a little aggravating. They still act like children. So, but you can't yell at cats; they don't get it. So it's goofy. But I think we've got them trained now. They love getting in boxes.
Once. We'll see if it works twice.
We have other cats, and they didn't like getting in boxes. No. But these two love it.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll get in boxes. And you've seen pictures. You know, they've been sleep in our box lids on our table before. But I hope we can get them trained to do that, and so that we can play games here at home and not have to go up to the clubhouse. But yeah, that is Stroganov, you guys. It's a wonderful Euro-style game. If you like that kind of game that you see here, it's got a tight economy. I wouldn't tell you about a game that isn't a good design. This is a really good game, and you can buy this with confidence and know that you're going to have a good time playing it, that the game itself is a solid design by Andreas Stedding. So yeah, please take a second on your television, your phone, or your computer, or whatever you're watching on, and just give us a thumbs up. Gosh, you guys, it means so much to us. We like playing board games. We have fun doing that, Lori and I, and we like to share that passion with you, as long as we can. We've been doing it a couple of years now. Yeah?
4, I think.
Oh, wow. But I enjoy sharing with you on this, the passion again that we have and the fun that we have playing board games, because you are just like me. I hope that you like playing board games and you're interested in them. And as we're getting older, of course, our tastes in board games will change. This is a game that's medium to heavy.
Medium to heavy.
I think so. I think it's a medium to heavy game.
It's a little outside what we would normally play, but we're good.
Yeah, it's we're gonna hang on to it though because we got a great buy on it. It's a fun game, and we have to be in the mood for this. The thing is, I don't think it's any harder than Raja the Ganges.
It's not.
Or
it isn't.
Rococo or Paris, by Kramer and Kiesling. I mean, I would say it's a little drier than those.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a little bit of it. This is Stroganov, this family that conquered Siberia, and they hired these Cossacks to go out and civilize that great Siberian wilderness, and that's what this game is about. And there's a lot of people that won't like that because I'm sure they wouldn't like the Russian theme. They really made a stink about Catherine, the board game also. But I don't know. I try not to hold that against it. I'm sure that Andreas Stedding didn't mean anything.
It's history. This is back in the day.
This is history. Yeah, I like history. I like learning and traveling all over the world in my board games, so thank you. Hey, yeah, keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet because of games like Stroganov. See you later. See you next time on The Bonus Collector. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, that was a couple of games out of our library that we wanted to share with you. Lori and I just do this because we want to share our passion. The only payday that I get is when you comment on the videos. It goes way beyond a monetary reward, and thank you for those comments, and please keep them coming. We'll try to get back to you as often as we possibly can. I love every one of you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll try to get them out as soon as possible. Bye-bye.